Hey everyone, what's going on? It's Waseem here again from Handsome Smiles. Thank you for joining me on another fragrance related video. Today we're going to be looking at a Attar. It's from the house of Mellifluence, and Attar we're looking at today is Seosaimhin. So Seosaimhin is an Attar from the house of Mellifluence. I'm going to leave a link to his Etsy shop in my description below. The perfumer behind the creation of Mellifluence Attars is called Abdullah. A great chap. Do send him a message if you want a sample pack or are interested in any of his Attar. He's a very helpful gentleman. So Seosaimhin, let me just run through the notes, then I'm going to talk about what the fragrance actually smells like for me in my experiences. I'm going to talk about its performance, its suitability in terms of occasions to wear, and I'm going to give my final overall rating of Seosaimhin. So at the top you're going to get neroli, bergamot, blood orange, lavender, 2002 rose, damask, tea rose, Indonesian rose and amberette. The heart of the fragrance is Mysore sandalwood, henna flower, 1997 Indian patchouli and Indian ambergris. And the base of the fragrance is Brazilian vetiver, 1947 Assam sinking grade oud, Assam dehnal oud, Hindi AAA oud and Indian amber. So a ton of notes in there. But what do I really get from this fragrance? So Seosaimhin. When I apply Seosaimhin to my skin, I'll immediately pick up the note of a damp, strong henna or mehndi. Now, mehndi or henna, or if you're not aware, it's like a traditional Indian, Middle Eastern sort of a temporary tattoo. Do a Google search of what henna tattoos look like. Now, the smell of henna tattoos is what I pick up in the opening stages of this fragrance, of this Attar. And for me, I smell henna during a religious festival for Muslims. It's called Eid. And the night before Eid, my sister, my mother, my auntie, my cousins, the females in my family, they apply the henna tattoo the night before Eid, and the smell of henna is quite distinctive and it's quite strong, and it kind of reminds me of what I pick up in the opening. So it reminds me of quite pleasant times, because Eid is quite a pleasant time. It's like Christmas. You're spending time with family. It's a joyous festival. So the opening, I pick up the very strong, distinctive, damp mehndi note, or henna as it's also known. And along with that, I pick up a very gentle, in the background, a funky woodiness coming from the note of the Indian Hindi oud. Now the Hindi oud, it definitely has that funky woodiness, but it's very gentle in this scent. The Indian oud isn't very pronounced in the opening stages, but it gives that damp, woody funkiness, and it works very well with the mehndi note, with the henna note, and I never thought those two notes would actually work well together. And along with this, along with the henna note, the Indian funky Hindi oud, from the woodiness that you get from it, you're also introduced in the opening few stages with some bright citrus notes, and along with that, a note of the rose. Now the citrus notes blend really well together with the rose to give it like a very fresh, clean rose feel. If it's the rose, to me smells like an Indian rose. The Indian roses, for me, from what I've smelt in Attars, compared to like a Turkish rose or a damask rose, has this like a light citrusy, fresher sort of feel. The bergamot, the citrus notes in the opening, which help to give the rose the freshness, is the bergamot, the neroli, and you also get a blood orange as well. Now the rose in the opening is quite gentle, but it's definitely there and helps to balance out. It's like a yin and yang sort of relationship between the rose and the citrus notes, compared to the damp, darker notes of the henna and the Indian oud. As the fragrance develops into the heart, the Indian rose sort of takes a little bit of a back step and starts becoming more of a background note. It's still there, giving it a freshness, but then the Indian Hindi oud starts to become more dominant and adds a further woodiness and funkiness into the scent. The mehndi note, for me, disappointingly, from the opening, is very much in the background into the heart and the dry down. It's forefront in the opening few stages, but becomes a little bit more easeful into the heart. And along with the oud that becomes more pronounced in the heart, as the fragrance dries down, it starts picking up a ton of earthy notes. Now, the earthy notes that I get from this Attar, Seosaimhin. Imagine earthiness from like the Australian outbacks, you know, a dry desert sort of warm, dusty sort of earthiness. I don't imagine the earthiness being like the earthiness that you get in England when it's the springtime and it's rained, that moist earthiness. It's not like that. It's more of a dry, imagine, it reminds me of the colour orange. That's the sort of earthy notes that I pick up into the dry down. So into the dry down, it really becomes like an earthy, woody, oody scent with some very, very easeful, gentle rolls, the fresh rolls, and a very, very faint Mendi Hindi note from the Mendi henna note from the opening. So as you can tell, this fragrance really transforms and develops as it stays on your skin. And it has a lot of facets to it and a lot of complexities, a ton of notes, but they work really well together. For me, when I was wearing this and testing this Seosaimhin, for me, it's a rose oud fragrance, rose oud Attar, and there's tons of them out there. But this is one that I've never come across before. It's very unique, and I'm surprised because I've actually tested so many fragrances. I've reviewed over 100 fragrances on this channel already, and I've smelled tons outside of the channel as well, which I haven't reviewed. And this was one of the most unique rose oud Attars and rose oud fragrances in general that I've tried. The oud blending well with the henna, the Mendi note, the rose working so well with the citrus notes, and the earthy notes in the dry down. This was one of the most unique rose oud Attars I've tried. In terms of performance, Seosaimhin, sorry, quite a difficult name. I think it's an Irish name. For me, in terms of performance, longevity was about 6 to 7 hours, which is expected for pure oil, and the projection was very strong for the first 2 hours, and after which it sat a little bit closer to the skin. I think in terms of occasions, this is one for yourself to enjoy, and it's best for formal occasions as well. I think for an Attar, this can work pretty much all year round, I think, because of the fresh opening that you get. It'll work well in the summer and the spring, and because of the darker notes, it'll work really well in the winter as well. Due to Attars not being really strong monster projectors, it works well all year round. It doesn't become cloying, which I've experienced because I've tested this in the heat wave of England that we're experiencing at the moment. For me, I was so impressed by this Attar. I'm going to give it an overall rating of a perfect score of 5 out of 5. So that's my review of Seosaimhin from Mellifluence. I hope you enjoyed this review. If you have, then please do leave me a like and a comment below, and make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Until next time, my friends, see you later.